Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Oh, bollocks. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Oh, shit. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to... Fuck. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and to another hour or so of me, you... Oh, bollocks. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and to another hour or so of me, you and a brew. Hope you've all had a good week. I've got loads to get through. I've got all the shout outs and the comments to do. Obviously, I've got some questions to answer. I've got my, 5 of my favourite TV sci-fi DVD stroke Blu-rays to show off. I've got all sorts of bits to get through. Some bits and pieces that I've bought, and a book that, if you like TV sci-fi, will absolutely knock your socks off. It is probably one of the most awesome books I've ever bought. It cost a packet, but oh my God, it's worth every penny. I'll be showing that off sometime within the next hour or so. So I'll crack on. First off, it's my very great pleasure to welcome a new member, Ollie Peters. Now, Ollie, I believe I spoke about him last week. I'm not sure, can't remember. But Ollie is a member of the WhatsApp group that Sam invited me to join. Unfortunately, I had to bow out of it this week. I was having problems with my phone. It's quite an old one. It was basically running out of power. It had run out of charge sort of partway into the afternoon. Normally it lasts sort of early evening until I get home and I can just put it on charge again, but it was running out early afternoon. I couldn't figure out why. Went onto the interweb to have a look, and it turns out that a lot of it is due to sort of groups that you join, WhatsApp groups, where there's a lot of files being swapped backwards and forwards which are usually stored on your phone, and I didn't realise this. So unfortunately I had to bow out of it. Sam basically messaged me and said, just leave a little message and I'll post it on the group for you, just explaining why you've had to leave, which I did, and I was very sorry to leave. It's a cracking little group. You know, I mean, they just talk films all day. It's absolutely brilliant. So Ollie is a member of that. He's also got his own channel called Ollie Loves Films, which is a cracking little channel. I need to catch up on your videos, mate. But welcome to the group. We're all a very friendly bunch here. There's a lot of banter goes off, so I think you'll fit in very well. Feel free to post your videos within the group. We love sort of as much content as we can get, especially videos and posts. You'll find it very lively. There's always something going on pretty much every day. There are threads that Jason, one of our top members, starts pretty much every few months, so that it keeps us all busy. It's brilliant. It's an amazing group, and I think you'll get a real kick out of it. But as I say, feel free to post your videos and post anything movie related in there. We welcome any content at all. It's great to have you aboard. I was going to say something else, but I've forgotten what it was. My memory is getting so shit nowadays. But I hope you like what we're doing here. As I say, you're obviously enjoying the videos because you've left a comment, which I'll be reading out very shortly. So as I say, welcome to the group, Ollie, and hope you like what we're trying to do here. So, congratulations to Roy. Roy has hit 700 subscribers. That is amazing, mate. Because your video or your channel has been going for, is it less than a year? If that's right, that is absolutely amazing. So congratulations on that, mate. Very well deserved. You've got a cracking little channel. I love your weekly watches. There's something to look forward to every Sunday night. So looking forward to finding out what you've been watching this week. As for the draw that you're doing, I can think of about 10 reasons why I would not want to win that. Terrifier 3. I had enough trouble with the first one. I've just about made it through that one. I can't bring myself to watch Terrifier 2, and I'm told that Terrifier 3 is even worse. So if you give me long enough, I could probably come up with 10 reasons why I absolutely do not want to win your draw. So, but yeah, congratulations on 700 subs, mate. That's absolutely amazing. So right, I'll crack on with some comments and see where it takes us. Chris says, I know I've been on a bit of a hiatus again lately, but I'll have some reviews coming your way soon. Look forward to it, mate. It's always good to have you back. And let's face it, we all need a break from all this. At some point every now and then, we just do. So just know that we're always going to be here when you get back. You've already dropped your first review, which was Coraline, a steelbook that you've got. Now, I've never seen Coraline, and I've yet to watch your review of it, but I'll be catching up with that one very, very shortly. But it's really, really good to have you back, mate. I always look forward to your videos. So I just feel not quite so alone up here when somebody else is doing it as well. So as I say, welcome back, mate, and we look forward to seeing what you've got in store for us. David, I will start with David. Morning, David. Great video as always. Cheers, Dave. Cheers, Dave. How come when mentioning Betty Davis films, Now Voyager does not get a mention? It is a great film. And Steve Matt, you said Now Voyager, along with All About Eve, are two of her very best films. Reason I never mentioned Now Voyager, David, is because I've never seen it. I know it's a classic, and I know she's supposed to be absolutely amazing in it, but I've never actually watched Now Voyager, which is why it didn't make it onto the list of sort of Betty Davis films that I was talking about. I will now add it to my watch list now that you pulled me up on it. I will definitely do that. Obviously I've heard of it. I've got a very brief idea, very vague idea of what it's about, but I've never seen it, and that's why it didn't get a mention, unfortunately. Thoughts about Amazon getting the rights to James Bond, and what are your thoughts on Force 10 from Navarone? Force 10 from Navarone, I'm not sure I've actually seen it. I always confuse that movie with another movie from pretty much the same year called Hanover Street, which was a sort of a wartime love story starring Harrison Ford and Leslie Ann Down, if I remember right. I don't think I've seen it, so I've got no thoughts on that, but I have looked at the Blu-ray release on Amazon, and I think it's only $9.99, so I'm probably going to grab a copy of that, and also the Guns of Navarone, which is on there for $7.99, which I've also never seen. It was a favourite film of my dad's. He loved the Guns of Navarone. He loved all war films, but I never actually got to watch that one with him. So I will almost certainly be grabbing a copy of Force 10 from Navarone. I think that's fairly certain. As for James Bond, Amazon getting the rights to it, mixed feelings. Amazon do cracking series and films. They really do. They're a force to be reckoned with. I just hope that they don't water down. This is hard. I don't know. I'm just used to seeing the Bond films turning up every 2 or 3 years, and they are spectacular, they're loud, they're colourful, they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I pray and hope that Amazon get it right if they're going to do it. I'm going to reserve judgment until the first one hits the screens, and I will basically give you my opinion when that happens. But as it is at the moment, I just hope that they don't cock it up. I really, really do. Any good recommendations from Indicator? I already have Force 10 from Navarone. I do. I've got 5 here that I would recommend. This is mostly because I enjoy the actual films, but the discs with all the extras on, Indicator do take very great care with their extras content. First one, from 1967, stars Sidney Poitier, and Lulu, believe it or not, and quite a few others. Who else is in this? Susie Kendall, Christian Roberts, Judy Geeson. To Sir with Love. I absolutely adore this film. It's got a cracking soundtrack, thanks to Lulu. It's just an amazing story, based on a book by E.R. Braithwaite, based on his experiences of teaching in a tough East End school. Um, it's just amazing. How on earth he's ever got away with an A certificate when it was released in '67 is beyond me, but I absolutely love this film. And Sidney Poitier is just brilliant, as he is in everything. Next one, The Beast Must Die. It's essentially a horror film, but it's also a whodunit kind of thing. A group of strangers are invited to a private island owned by a big game hunter. The only thing he hasn't hunted and caught is a werewolf. And he's invited these people because he knows that one of them is a werewolf. This was the one and only movie that had sort of 5-10 minutes before the end what they call a werewolf break, where you've got a little ticking clock on the screen where it gives you time to figure out who you think is actually going to be the werewolf. It's a brilliant movie from 1971, I believe, but really, really good. Calvin Lockhart and Peter Cushing. Next one. This was based on a book by Leslie Thomas, his experiences in the war in Burma. I've loved this since the first time I saw it. The Virgin Soldiers stars, let's see, Hal Bennett, Lynn Redgrave, Nigel Davenport, Nigel Patrick. Yep, absolutely brilliant. Made in the late 60s. My only hope is that Indicator get the rights to the sequel, Stand Up Virgin Soldiers, which was released in '76 and starred Robin Asquith and a host of other stars. I think Warren Mitchell was in that one, or is he in this one? No, he's not, so it must have been the other one. But this is cracking stuff. It's a comedy, it's a drama. It's just wonderful. Used to usually turn up on ITV on a Saturday night, sort of just after 10 o'clock, if I remember right. But it's a cracking movie. Next one, I love a good gangster flick, and this is one of the best. I think they took a few liberties with the truth and history, but we don't care. Stars Jason Robards, George Segal, Ralph Meeker, and Gene Hale. And it was directed by the wonderful Roger Corman, who had a habit of creating very, very watchable movies out of quite boring subject matter. But this is absolutely brilliant. And as with all of the Indicator releases, I buy them a lot for the special features, which I'll just hold that there if you want to freeze frame that. But cracking movie based on obviously the St. Valentine's Day massacre and the events leading up to that and after. You've got all the usual characters in there, Al Capone, all the gangsters of the Prohibition era. It's absolutely brilliant, and the soundtrack is amazing. And my favourite Indicator release ever, I've seen this movie no end of times. It turned up on horror double bills in the 70s, usually with a Hammer film. Night of the Demon, and the extras on this are just stupendous. Just look at that lot. It would take you a couple of days just to work your way through those. I believe this is quite difficult to get hold of now. I don't know whether it's out of print or anything, but if you've never seen it, it's one of the most brilliant sort of black and white horror films from 1957, all to do with witchcraft and runes and all that sort of thing. It's just amazing, and if you've never seen it, Dave, or any of you, grab a copy of that because it is well worth watching. So those are my top 5 Indicators. I will have a look on the shelf during the week and see if I've got any more. I know I have, but most of them I think I showed off last week when I indulged myself with Indicator's latest sale, so you've seen a lot of them. But that's that. So thanks for that, Dave. Much appreciated, mate. Always good to hear from you. Ollie, our newest member. Morning, Ollie. Great video, Tony. You have some incredible knowledge there. I really don't. It kind of looks like I do. But you'd be surprised how many times I'm pulled up on things that I get wrong. Stars that I forget, plots that I forget. If it's a movie that I'm well familiar with, that I've seen 100 times, I'm perfectly okay. But if it's something that I've only seen once, give it 2 or 3 weeks and I've forgotten everything about it. So I really do appreciate the compliment, but I assure you it's absolutely not true. I was one that also really loved Better Man. Was one of my top films of last year. I really, really enjoyed it, way more than I thought I would. As I've said, I'm not a Robbie Williams fan, not by any stretch, but I do love a good musical biopic. So yeah, I just thought it was good. Will I watch it again? Almost certainly. I'll treat myself to the Blu-ray or the 4K at some point when it comes out, because it's going to definitely bear another watching. I'm sure it will. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. I watched Murder by Decree this evening with Christopher Plummer, an excellent film. If you haven't seen it, I have a long time ago. I've seen it 2 or 3 times, and it is really really good. One of the best sort of Sherlock Holmes movies I think I've ever seen. And Christopher Plummer makes an amazing Sherlock Holmes. He's just brilliant. Do you have any Christopher Plummer films you can recommend? He is one of my favourite actors. I've got two. Now, one I've only seen the once, and I can't remember much about it, but I do remember being very impressed with it. It's called The Silent Partner from 1976, I believe, starring Elliot Gould and Christopher Plummer, and it's a kind of a cat and mouse game between a bank robber and one of the tellers inside. It's just amazing. If you get the chance to track it down, it is well worth a watch. And the other one is one of my favourite movies ever, and I showed this off the other week, Dreamscape, also starring Dennis Quaid and is it Meg Ryan? Who else? Max von Sydow, Kate Capshaw, that's the one. Just really good, about a guy who has the talent to be able to get into other people's dreams while they're unconscious and play a part in them. It's a sinister film. I think it was an hour before Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street. But this is absolutely brilliant, and Christopher Plummer is an awesome villain. So if you get the chance to watch that, I would definitely recommend it. From 1984, I think. But it's called Dreamscape, and it's 100% worth a watch. So that answers that one. So thanks, Ollie, for that. Much appreciated, mate. Where are we going? Stuart. Morning, Tony, mate. Emotional films. I've just uploaded my latest video, the top 10 most heartbreaking movies in my collection. I'll be taking a look at that when I've finished this, mate. Thanks for the Coburn Bronson recommendations. Hard Times is fantastic, mate. Think you might like it. I'm going to track a copy of that down and have a look. It's one that I've heard of. Is it to do with bare knuckle fighting? Have I got the right one? Me and Roy got talking about biblical, historical and epic movies. Name a few of your favourites, mate. Oh, blimey. Would you mind if I came back on this one next week? I threw this together at the last minute yesterday. Obviously, I was working yesterday, so I didn't have much time to copy and paste notes and think about questions and that. I will come back to that next week, I promise you, because I used to love, or still do, biblical epics like the ones you mentioned, The Greatest Story Ever Told, King of Kings, Barabbas, that kind of thing. And I'll have a look, see if I've got any of them upstairs, any of my absolute favourites. But yeah, my mum used to sit me down in front of anything that was biblical. She used to love it. So I've seen quite a few of them. So leave that with me, Stuart. I'll come back on that next week. See you next Saturday morning. You certainly will, mate. And thanks for the comments, mate. It's always good to hear from you. Dave Taylor. Morning, Dave. Hi, Tony. Really love the vid today. Thanks very much, Dave. Much appreciated. As you know, we all have differing tastes. A High Wind in Jamaica, for most part, has a Disney feel for me. When you reminded me about the kids, I also remembered Anthony Quinn is the pirate captain. He is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't James Coburn one of his right-hand men? I think I mentioned this last week, didn't I? But yeah, it's a cracking movie. It did have a kind of a sort of a Swiss Family Robinson type feel to it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I quite agree with that, mate. Cross of Iron has some good scenes. I can't remember what I thought of it as a whole, though. Welcome to my world. 5 Days in May is about the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now that sounds interesting. That's one that I need to track down, so I'll be adding that to the watch list, Dave. I tried to watch A-Team, the movie, didn't get past the first 15 to 20 minutes. As we said about the Sweeney remake, I couldn't stop thinking of the original cast. It's a tough one, isn't it? Whenever you watch a movie based on a beloved TV series, especially one that you watched, you will always have the original actors who played the roles at the back of your mind, as it was with the Sweeney, which is why it didn't work for me the first time round. I had to watch it again sort of years down the line and basically switched my mind off to the fact that, you know, all of these characters were played by different actors. Ray Winston was superb, absolutely brilliant, but he wasn't John Thor. And as for Dennis Waterman's character Carter, oh, don't even get me started. Ben Drew, what were they thinking? Um, so yeah, it's a difficult one, mate, and it will always be the same for me. Whenever I hear of a movie version of a TV series that I loved from years ago, my first reaction is usually a bit of a groan. It's like, oh God, really? And then I think, yeah, well, I'll give it a chance. And as soon as I've watched it, it's like, wasn't the same, wasn't the same. So, but yeah, I totally get that. Thanks for that, Dave. Much appreciated. Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. Morning, Steve. I found Longlegs fascinating. I think we tend to watch these films on a perfunctory level, and there is so much more under the surface. This, for me, is a film of that type. I fully intend to watch it again, and I am sure I will discover more there. I really like this filmmaker and eagerly await more work from him. Osgood Perkins, isn't it? He's got a movie out now called The Monkey, which is actually getting mixed reviews. Kermode loved it, absolutely adored it. It's one that I really, really wanted to see, with it being a Stephen King adaptation. But as soon as I found out it was directed by Osgood Perkins, I thought, oh, is this going to be another Longlegs? A completely confusing thing. But I've been assured it is a it is a completely different animal to Longlegs. So it is in a different league. So I will be taking a look at The Monkey, but I'd be curious to know what you think of it, if you get to see it, mate. I haven't seen Better Man, but I do want to see it. Like you, Tony, I'm not a massive Robbie fan, but keen to see what it offers. It offers a good story, Steve. As I said, by the end of watching the film, I how do I put this? I kind of get why he is the way that he is, if that makes any sense. It was good because it literally takes you right from when he was a kid through the Take That years, through the through the solo career years, through the drugs, the rehab. It's just absolutely brilliantly done. And the thing with The Monkey is a gimmick, but it's a gimmick that works, and you kind of forget about it after about half an hour. You kind of forget that you're watching a monkey because the voice is most definitely Robbie Williams. But if you've not seen it, mate, it's definitely worth a go, even if you're not a Robbie fan, which I'm not. I see there is a new Clockwork Orange steelbook around with the original artwork, but I got that box set, so I'm fine. Oh, I'm a bit reluctant to. I've seen it on Amazon, and it looks amazing. Do I want a third cop? Well, is it a third or a fourth? I've got it as part of a Kubrick box set. I've also got two other box sets that were released within sort of several weeks of each other, which cost me sort of £40 or £50 a piece. So my question is, do I really need another one? I haven't got it on Steelbook. It is one of my favourite films ever. I absolutely adore it. But the question remains, do I want a fourth version of it? Because I've looked at the extras, Steve, and they're exactly the same as far as I can tell, as the other releases. So I don't know. I'll have a think about it. You know what I'm like for impulse buys. I will see it on the day it's released and think, oh, bollocks to it, I'll just go for it. But I will let you know on that. 24/7 is getting a new BFI release. Got it on pre-order along with Slade in Flame, of course. I can't wait to see Slade in Flame on Blu-ray. 24/7 is one that I probably will be getting a copy of on Blu-ray. I have ordered it on, I believe it's DVD, for a ridiculous price of £2 something, but it's not come through yet. But I will be taking a look at it. Again, it's got blinding reviews. Everybody seems to speak very highly of it, so I will be giving it a go. Music biopics. You've got a list here of the ones that you've, I presume you've seen these and enjoyed. Respect, Aretha Franklin. That's one I wouldn't mind watching. A Complete Unknown and I'm Not There, Bob Dylan. I can't wait to see A Complete Unknown. I remember when it was first announced that they were making it, basically it was very, very negative thoughts on Timothy Chalamet playing him, but they reckon it's absolutely brilliant. So yes, I do want to see A Complete Unknown. Maria Callas, not an opera fan, but I do love a good musical biopic and a true story, so almost certainly. Nowhere Boy, John Lennon. Never seen this. I believe it's on Prime, so I'll take a look at that. Ray, which is Ray Charles. never seen that one. Get On Up, James Brown, heard of it but never seen it. And Love and Mercy, Brian from the Beach Boys, that's going to be a good one. Jersey Boys, Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. I've got Jersey Boys on Blu-ray, but I've not actually got round to watching it. It's an old story, isn't it? Control, Ian Curtis, and there's many more. I would love to see Control. I believe that's on, it's either Netflix or Prime, or it might even be BFI Player. So I will be taking a look at that one. So yeah, thanks for that, Steve. Much appreciated, mate. Sam, how long have I got? 6 minutes, easy. Good morning, Tony. Great video as ever, bud. Speaking of music, oh, cheers by the way, Sam. Speaking of music biopics, have you seen Walk the Line? Excellent biopic about Johnny Cash. Which artist would you love to see a music biopic of? I'm going to come back to that one next week as well. It's going to be one of those weeks when if I can answer a question straight off the bat, I'll do it. But if I need to think about it, I'm going to take the week and I'll come back to that one next week. So you will get an answer on that one, Sam. I plan on watching, or by now have watched, the 4K disc of Texas Chainsaw 2, a complete departure from the original, but as a standalone movie, it is a very good time. Saw it as part of the Halloween Tyneside all-nighter. What's your thoughts on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film series, bud? I've seen most of them. The original is an absolute stone cold classic, obviously. I love them. I absolutely love them. I wasn't so keen on the Netflix release from maybe a year or two back. It wasn't bad, but it was a little bit silly, wasn't it? It wasn't what I would class as a proper Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. The second one I've never seen. All the recent ones from sort of 2000 onwards, I've seen bits of, but not all of them. That would be a good franchise to actually take in. So leave that with me. I will be, but I definitely love the original, absolutely, and nothing as far as I'm concerned will ever match that. I continue to avoid Sallow like the plague. It's just one of those films I simply don't have the stomach for. Also, Pink Flamingos, I don't have the stomach for that one either. I'm not surprised, for exactly the same reason as me. Sallow is just horrible. It's just a vile, disgusting piece of cinema. Unfortunately, I have seen it, and there are scenes in there, unfortunately, that you can't unsee. And I wish you could sort of press a reset button and basically say that, you know, that's it, I can forget about it now. But no, avoid it. You're not missing anything apart from some real unpleasant stuff. Pink Flamingos, this is divine, isn't it? I've never seen it. I used to be a bit of a fan of John Waters years ago, but you don't really hear much from him now. But I've not seen Pink Flamingos, and I've not seen Female Trouble, or any of those other sort of early efforts of his. I hope to see the new Valentine's-based slasher film, Heart Eyes. Looks pretty solid. Do you have any favourite films based on Valentine's Day, whether it's a slasher film or a comedy, etc.? I've got two. My Bloody Valentine, but the original version from 1981, I believe it was. Absolutely brilliant slasher movie. It was brought out at the height of the slasher movie cycle. Absolutely brilliant. If we're talking rom-coms, one of the few that I always enjoy and loved from the first time I saw it is Sleepless in Seattle. Absolutely adore it. The soundtrack is just glorious. It's all the old standards like Nat King Cole, Bing Crosby, Frank. It's all that kind of stuff, and it's just a gorgeous film. I never get bored of it. So if I had to pick two, it'd be My Bloody Valentine from 81 and Sleepless in Seattle, which I think was about 93. Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Beautiful film. Great to see you show your book copies of 39 Steps and the Time Machine. Definitely be up for reading them, hopefully in the not too distant future. Is there any book based on movie adaptations you prefer to its original novel? Come back to that one next week. This is going to be an old story, I can see it coming. Tony, I watched a film called Mermaids recently. Very good film with Bob Hoskins, Cher and Winona Ryder. Great family-oriented drama. Possibly would make a good double feature with Heathers. What's your thought on these movies, Bud? Heathers I saw a long time ago. Really enjoyed it. This is Christian Slater and Winona Ryder, isn't it? Really good film. Mermaids I've never seen, but I was talking about this with a colleague at work, and she mentioned, if you like just easygoing sort of movies, she recommended me Steel Magnolias, which I saw a long time ago, and Mermaids. And I did say, thanks to that Shoop Shoop song, I just absolutely was not bothered about watching it. And she basically told me that is literally over the ending credits, so you don't need to worry about that. The rest of the film is absolutely brilliant. So I will add that to my watch list, and I'll get that watched at some point. Keep up the fantastic work as ever, Tony, mate. Bring on next Saturday, just like just like always. Thanks, Sam. Very, very much appreciated, mate. Right, I'm coming up to 30 minutes. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in a sec. And we're back. Right, before I go any further, you may have noticed that JK, our Ginger Ninja, is missing from the roster this morning. He's got a few things going on. He uploaded a video a couple of days back, which was basically an update on his channel. He's taking a bit of a break. He's moving house at the moment. He's in the process of moving home. And he's also got a few problems with his job. So, Jay, if you're watching, know that we're all thinking of you, mate. We're looking forward to when you come back. We'll all be here, ready and waiting for your reviews as soon as you do come back. I think he's going to carry on doing his 60-second videos because they're quite quick to put together. But the Franchise Friday and the Trashy Tuesday, I think he's taking a break from those because they do take a bit longer to sort of put together. So he's taking a bit of a break for a few weeks while he gets everything sorted out. So I hope everything comes together for you, mate. As I say, note that we're all thinking of you, and we're looking forward to you coming back whenever you're ready. So right, on with the comments. Mark, morning Captain. Morning Mark. I love him he calls me Captain. Another watch listen at work this morning. Lots of overtime at the moment as the wife has decided to take me to Vegas for 5 nights in May for my 40th, so I need to save lots of spending money. Those casinos are waiting for you, mate. You'll come back with fuck all. You're lucky. I'm very, very lucky. I would love to see Vegas. Absolutely love to see Vegas. So yeah, we need to see lots of pictures of that when you do actually get there. So due to listening at work, there wasn't much room for making notes. So all I'll say is that you'll have fun with both Cinderella Man and Brotherhood of the Wolf when you get around to watching them. Great video, and same time next week. Absolutely, mate. Looking forward to watching both of those. I'll grab hold of Cinderella Man as soon as I get a minute, and I've already got Brotherhood of the Wolf on 4K. So that's shot to the top of my watch list due to the trailer looking absolutely amazing. So thanks for that, Mark. Always good to hear from you, mate. Look forward to hearing from you next week. Guy. Morning, Guy. Great vid, mate. Cheers, Guy. Not much of a comment today because I'm poorly. Oh dear. But it's nothing serious. Yes, I'm sure Needwood Books had a table and chairs for reading. Nice one on the magazines. We were talking about that dusty old bookshop in New Street where I got those copies of 39 Steps and Food of the Gods from. Was it last week or the week before? And I was just sharing a bit of a distant memory that I was sure that the place had a little room at the back with tables and chairs. I believe it led onto the backyard where you could just sit and read all day. A bit like a library. It was a lovely place. I really, really miss it. And as for the magazines, you're more than welcome. I will start sorting them out very, very shortly. So always good to hear from you, mate. Hope you feel better soon. Callie, morning, sweetheart. Saturday morning Tony time. Where would I be without you? You probably have a life. Rather sitting here listening to me prattling on for half an hour at a time. Films that make me cry are as follows. Number 1, My Girl. The bit when she says he can't see without his glasses. I've got to watch this. I've never seen My Girl. I don't know why. Never ever got round to it. But from what people are telling me, I'm not really looking forward to it. Number 2, The Green Mile. Don't put me in the dark, boss. I'm scared of the dark. I can't remember that. I do remember seeing The Green Mile a long time ago. Long ass film, but really, really good. And number 3, All Dogs Go to Heaven. Charlie's Goodbye. Oh, if it's anything to do with dogs, it will destroy me. I know it will. And lastly, bit of an odd one, Blade Runner. I've seen things you wouldn't believe speech at the end. I can't remember that. It's a long time since I've seen Blade Runner. I picked up the 4K not too long back, so I'm definitely due a rewatch of that. Headphones for watching films. So Here's how I do it. Thankfully, I watch everything via my PS4, and the controller has a handy dandy headphone socket, so that's what I use, which I haven't got. As for via the TV, I suppose if your TV uses Bluetooth to connect to a surround sound device, it might be able to connect to earbuds, but I'm not 100% on that one. I do need to look that up, definitely. Mostly for very, very loud films, because they tend to alarm the dog a little bit, lots of gunfire and stuff like that. And it would be nice to basically put headphones on so it doesn't worry her. So the Time Machine remake is a bit of an underrated classic in my opinion. Got to confess, I didn't like it the first time I saw it. I've seen it a couple of times since and really get on with it now. So really good. I mean, Guy Pearce is good in everything he does, but that was a good one, and I would love to see it again. The Giant Spider Invasion. Isn't that the one where they built the main giant spider prop over the top of a VW Beetle? It is indeed. You got the right one. And the fact that you can see on that scene the VW Beetle under it as it's driving along. That's how bad it is if you've not seen it. Yes, that's the one, Kelly. I first watched The Food of the Gods on the Sci-Fi Channel. They had a double bill with the sequel, which was okay from what I remember of it anyway. Oof, the sequel was pretty bad. I do remember the scene with the kid that was just like 20 feet tall. That was a bit worrying. But I'd love to see the sequel again. I think it was just called Food of the Gods 2. So I'll have to look that one up. I believe it's quite difficult to get hold of. Didn't get around to Will and Harper last week, but I will be covering this week on the What You've Been Watching Mate segment of Higgis. Look forward to hearing your thoughts on that one. It is you. It is just you. The only thing I can say that was actually good about the Tim Burton Apes film is the special effects and the makeup they used to turn the actors into apes. Honestly, they were bloody impressive. Shame the story and everything else about the film sucked. Totally agree with that one. The special effects and the makeup were absolutely outstanding. I couldn't fault them. It was just the film itself. It didn't feel like a Planet of the Apes movie to me. It just didn't. And therefore it didn't work. The Eyes of Laura Mars, classic. It also reminds me of a Jeff Goldblum film called Hideaway. I've not heard of this, so as soon as I finish doing this, I'm going to be looking that one up and adding it to the watch list. I do like Jeff Goldblum. I think he's just nutty as fuck, but he's just really entertaining. Yes, get the Prophecy watched and let us know what you think. It's one of my top 10 films of all time. Well, that's recommendation enough for me, so I will drag that back downstairs because it went up with the others last week after I'd shown them off. So I'll drag that one back down and put it by the TV. Another great episode, hon. Looking forward to watching next week's episode. Thanks, Callie. Oh, and maybe you'll have a short story to talk about next week. I hope so. I'm looking forward to having a read of that. For those of you that don't know, Callie has been working on a series of short stories for quite a while now. I've offered to have a read and let her know what I think. So looking forward to taking a look at those, Callie, and I'm sure they're going to be absolutely amazing. So Jason P, morning Jay, great vid as always, cheers mate. Better man, you watched this hating Robbie Williams, so fair play. I wonder if it was all the reviews on my post that swayed you to watch it quicker than you normally would. It was the fact that everybody had seen it. It was one of those films of the moment, and I thought, you know what, I'm feeling a bit left out here. I need to take a look at this. And I know Rob loves a good sort of music biopic, so I thought, you know what, we'll stick it on Saturday night, and that'll go down well. And we both enjoyed it. Neither of us are Williams fans, as you know, so yeah. But I would definitely say that seeing all your posts and your thoughts on it, it did sway me, absolutely. Tell you what though, and I think we will both agree, if a Sam Smith one was bought out, oh god, here we go, none of us would watch it. I'm not interested in what the knob has done or will do. Fucking cockwomble. I quite agree. Couldn't have put it better myself. Would I watch a Sam Smith music biopic? Hell no. Absolutely not. You got that right. Still haven't got my EastEnders mag yet. What a week that was. How the hell did they do that with Anita Dobson? What the fuck? There aren't many moments on TV, especially in soaps, that literally make my jaw hit the floor. But that was one of them. I just remember saying, what? How the hell have they managed that? It can't have been CGI and it can't have been AI. But I would love to know how that was done. But what a week on EastEnders. Emmerdale wasn't much better. That was all doom and gloom as well. I always check Prime after seeing reviews of old films. I get the film up on IMDb, look at Watch Now on Prime, then see if it's free to watch. If it says Prime and no price next to it, then it's free. Another hour long one, eh? And less stress for you. If in future when you've done your video and there's something you missed, just do an extra 10 or 20-minute video for Sunday like you did with Extra Time, or call it Tony's Titbits. Titbits? Seriously? It's a good thought, and I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, I'm really enjoying doing the hour-long format. Hour and a half and upwards, it's just too much. It really is. Just the fact that I'm not even sure I could keep talking for that long. I know I've done it before, but as you know, things start to go wrong after the 60-minute mark. That's just how it is. But this hour-long thing is really, really working for me, and I'm enjoying it. But yes, if I do happen to run over, that's a good idea, is do a little 10-15-minute video for Sunday morning and just call it Extra Time or Titbits. So, same time next week when we will finally be in March. Oh, God, it can't come soon enough, mate. January lasted 534 days. It seemed like it, didn't it? February seemed like 10 days. I know there was 3 days less than January, but February has flown by. It has gone quite quick. January was a complete nightmare. Now it's just started warming up a bit, and I'm so happy. I really am. P.S. The film shown in the pic is Magnificent Seven from 2016, not the Brad Pitt movie Seven, before anybody thinks that's free on Prime. Now that's a visual thing, so you won't know anything about that. That was something that went on the group. It was a picture of a listing on Prime that was basically, it was called Seven, but it's not the Brad Pitt movie, it's the Magnificent Seven, which is completely irrelevant because I've bought both of them. Oh no, I've not got the original, but I've seen it 1,000 times. Let's go on. You'll never seen it for this week, Jay, was the Sugarland Express. I saw this probably 6 months ago. I put it off for years. Totally regretted it. What a movie. Absolutely loved it. One of Steven Spielberg's first movies. Synopsis: a woman attempts to reunite her family by helping her husband escape from prison and together kidnap their son. But things don't go as planned when on the road they are forced to take a policeman hostage. Verdict: not sure why I've never bothered with this before. Maybe the title or artwork didn't grab my attention. It was time to give it a watch to see if I've missed anything. Well, what an enjoyable movie from start to finish. I loved every minute. I will certainly watch this again, and if I see a copy going cheap anywhere, then I shall purchase. I really, really enjoyed it, and I've already earmarked, thanks to your review, a copy of the Blu-ray, which I believe is going for about £13 on eBay. So it's only a matter of time before I invest in that, because I really did enjoy that movie. Just really, really good. And it basically showed what Spielberg could do, as if you needed any further proof than Duel from 1971, which was just the most amazing film. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that one, guys. Massive truck menacing a car on the highway for 90 minutes, for those of you that don't know. But I'd be curious to know what you think of that one. There's a little footnote here. Buying the never seens. A few films just lately I will purchase if I see them for less than £2. I may not get a chance to watch them again, but to have a physical copy on the shelf at a bargain price is a bonus. I'm currently scouting the charity shops for old games we had in the 70s and 80s as kids. Oh, I'd love to do that. So I always have a look at what DVDs are for sale. Yesterday I had a gander in the charity shop. I got the Frustration game from Hasbro for £1.50. What a bargain. We've still got an original Frustration up in the attic. The box is just shot to fuck, but the game still works. And I think it's got all the little peg things as well. Sure it has. No such luck with their DVDs though. They do 10 for £1.50, but that was nothing I needed. For that price, you can't go wrong, can you? You just can't. I must nip into the charity shop and actually see what they've got. So thanks for that, Jay. Much appreciated, mate. Look forward to reading what you've got for us next week. Right. I promised this earlier on. 5 of my favourite sci-fi TV shows, which I'm sure, hopefully, you'll find interesting. They're in no particular order. I just noticed a couple of these on the shelf and thought, I'll add another 3 to those, and we'll do first one, Twilight Zone. Easily the best anthology sci-fi series ever. I've got seasons 1 and 2 on individual Blu-ray, but I believe there's a box set of all 5 seasons for about £60, so I'm going to be investing in that very, very shortly. But I love this. Favourite stories is the one with Burgess Meredith where he breaks his glasses after a nuclear war, if that makes any sense. There are so many. I couldn't even begin to name. The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. That was a good one. So many. This was essential Saturday night viewing when I was a kid, and it was just as scary as hell back then. And these things are like 70 years old, but absolutely brilliant. And a kind of companion piece to the Twilight Zone. This came along probably a couple of years later. Very, very similar, but the stories were all original. The Outer Limits, black and white. These episodes were an hour long as opposed to 30 minutes. The Zante Misfits is the one that sticks out for me. But there were some cracking stories in that. I think they did 2 seasons, and I believe it was revived, like the Twilight Zone, probably about 10, 15, 20 years ago maybe. Nowhere near as good. These are the classics. These are the ones you want to watch. Huge fan of Irwin Allen's movies and TV shows. This was one that I used to love growing up. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Basically based on a movie of the same name, which I believe was released about 1961, starred Walter Pidgeon, if I remember correctly. This series was amazing. I think the first season was in black and white, then it burst into colour. And this was the first programme I ever saw on a colour TV, and it absolutely blew me away. I loved it, absolutely loved it. It ran for about, I think it was 4 series, and I think there was something like 130, 140 episodes. Absolutely brilliant. Richard Basehart, David Hedison. Just complete fantasy, but just superb stuff. Next one, quintessentially British. It doesn't get much better than this. The Avengers. I've got every episode on various different discs. I've also got the New Avengers, and also the black and white episodes with Kathy Gale, which was on a Blackman. The colour episodes with Diana Rigg were easily, as far as I'm concerned, the heyday of the Avengers. The Cybernauts were brilliant. There were just so many memorable stories in this. A lot of them I remember seeing as a kid that were actually quite scary. If you watch them as a child, they are quite alarming. But yeah, I loved the Avengers. We used to watch an episode of this every Sunday night until we got through them all, and I think we're about due for another watch of them. And this was Jerry Anderson's first expedition into live action. He'd already done stuff like Four Feather Falls, Supercar, Thunderbird, Stingray, Captain Scarlet, The Secret Service. There were so many, and this, I believe, was the first time he went into live action, and I love this series. It was a lot darker than any of his puppet programs, obviously UFO. This again ran for 2 series. Absolutely amazing, just basically about the Shadow organisation, and their mission in life was basically to intercept UFOs. I can't get enough of this. I've seen this so many times and absolutely adore it. I think it was about early 70s. I've even got a UFO annual somewhere upstairs from about 1971. But I'm due another watch of this, so I will be taking that in again at some point. Right, that's all of those. Now, what have I been investing in this week? Oh my God, you're going to love these. You're certainly going to love the last item, or at least I think you will. Give you a hint to it. Remember I showed that off last week, Irwin Allen's collectibles. I've got to go through this and actually find some of the items that are in here, but there's literally all sorts, models of the robot, all that kind of thing. You'll understand the significance of that one very, very shortly. First, I'll go through the Blu-rays very quickly. El Cid, Charlton Heston. I've wanted to see this for so many years, but there are 2 versions. There's one with an 8-minute overture at the beginning, which I've had great difficulty tracking down. This is actually a German import. You have to fiddle a bit with the audio settings to get the English soundtrack, because it automatically bursts into German as soon as you pop it in. So you literally have to change the settings on this one. But can't wait to watch this. It was a staple on a Saturday afternoon, this, alongside stuff like the Robin Hood films, biblical epics, that kind of thing. In fact, this would be one that I would probably recommend to Stuart when I've watched it. We were talking about biblical epics. I'm having trouble saying biblical epics at some point, so that's one I'd probably recommend to Stuart. This is an absolute classic. I've seen it a few times, but I've never ever owned it on any kind of physical media. I haven't seen it for quite a while. I remember this being an absolute legend of a movie, The Breakfast Club. You've got everybody in this: Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Molly Ringwald, Judd Nelson. About a group of misfit kids who are basically kept in detention after class on a Saturday afternoon. They're all complete opposites, but over the course of the day they manage to bond. It's got a blinding soundtrack. This was John Hughes at his absolute best. I love The Breakfast Club. I've not seen it for a while, and one of the group members happened to mention it the other night, and I thought, you know what, I would love to see that again. So I grabbed that. I think it was about $7.99. This one I spoke about last week. This is on the back of the Burt Lancaster thing that we were talking about, favourite Burt Lancaster movies. Now, I've never seen this, but I've always wanted to watch it, and it's called Die Les Schlacht, or Go Tell the Spartans, if you want the British title of it. I don't know very much about it, and the back is all in German, so I can't even read that. I just know it's some kind of a war film. It was an X certificate at the cinema when it came out, because I remember the poster outside. This was about 1976, I believe, 77. So it's obviously my favourite decade of movies. Looking forward to taking a look at that, with it being a Burt Lancaster film and a war film. Next one, Anne of a Thousand Days, Richard Burton and Genevieve Bujold. Henry VIII. This story has been told so many times, but again, I was talking with a colleague at work who basically said that this is her favourite version of the Henry VIII story, and I think it concentrates mostly on Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. I don't think it concentrates on the other wives, I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to watching it. It's 2 hours and 25 minutes long and supposed to be an absolute classic, so really looking forward to that one. I don't even know how I came about this one. I saw it. Did somebody mention the TV series Maverick? I don't know. Or did somebody mention the movie Maverick last week? I can't remember. But I went on Amazon, saw it for $7.99, and the reviews were all absolutely brilliant. People have written how good this movie was. And I went on the IMDb, and it's pretty much universally sort of one of the best movies ever, apparently. I've never seen it. You've got Mel Gibson, Jodie Foster and James Garner. Can't go wrong with any of them. And a small handful of DVDs here. We were talking about the 39 Steps, and I was saying last week that I got the Hitchcock version. I'd also got the... Oh, the screen's gone off. I've gone all dark. Just bear with me. There you go. I've got to keep moving the mouse, otherwise it blanks out. And also the Robert Powell version from 78. And somebody said, what about Kenneth Moore's? Grabbed a copy. Cost me about £3 on Amazon. Still in the cellophane, but I have seen this a couple of times, many, many years ago. For some reason, I completely forgot about it when we were talking about 39 Steps last week. But I'm looking forward to having another look at that. I remember this being really, really good. Next one. This is another one that was recommended to me by, I believe, Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. 1900. I know very little about this, in fact nothing about it. All I know is it's Robert De Niro, Gerard Depardieu, Donald Sutherland. It's a Bernardo Bertolucci movie. It's a long film. This is, you're talking 4.5 hours, I believe. 301 minutes, how many is that? But I didn't realise until I got it, this is a steelbook. And it's a nice looking one as well. That's the back of it. As I say, don't know anything about it, but I will be taking that in at some point when I've got a week to spare. side by side. This is one of those glam rock movies that basically disappeared. I I know nothing about this again. Barry Humphries, Stephanie de Sykes. I remember her single, Born with a Smile on My Face, from about 1974. Billy Boyle, Frank Thornton, Captain Peacock in Are You Being Served, Terry Thomas, and featuring the music of Mud, the Rubettes, Kenny, Mac and Katie Kassoon, Desmond Decker and the Israelites. I've heard this is pretty crap, really, really terrible, but it's one of the few movies that were made, music movies, in the glam rock era that I hadn't got, and I thought you need a copy of that, so saw it for about £6, so I thought why not. And finally, a colleague and myself were discussing this one. I'd never seen it, and she said her husband was a massive fan of this, and he ordered it on DVD. So I thought, do you know what? It's a long film, and I do love a long film, and I've got the time to watch them. It's 2.5 hours, mine at all. This is Tom Hardy and Rutger Hauer. I mean, you can't really go wrong with either of those. It's a bit of a mythical thing, so I'm expecting something along the lines of Clash of the Titans, or Jason and the Argonauts, or something similar to that, but we'll see. It's actually a 15, so it's going to be pretty grim. I've got a couple of magazines here. Latest issue of SFX, which I will be earmarking for Guy when I've had a read of it. You've got articles on Stranger Things, Thundercats, Deathline, that was a cracking movie, Doctor Who, Bram Stoker, Star Wars, Godzilla, and also the greatest shows of the SFX era, 30 must-see series and where to binge them. That's that. Guy, you are going to love these. I found these again by accident and got a job lot of 3 of them. There's a whole series of these, and I need them all. I want them all. The Doctor Who Chronicles. These are magazines, but look at this. How nice are these? They're just gorgeous. I can't wait to read them. That one's 1963 to 64. The one I actually wanted was this one, from the 1973 edition. And again, just glorious. Just look at these. Joe Grant. Absolutely amazing. And there's one here that I wasn't bothered about, but it came as part of the job lot. This is 1988, so this will be Sylvester McCoy. I don't think I've ever seen a Sylvester McCoy story, but there's a whole series of these, and I'm trying to get the whole set, but some of them are quite expensive. Right, the book I was going to show you. This cost me £46. And before you all start groaning and going, bloody hell, this is worth it. Look at this. I can barely lift it. The Fantasy Worlds of Irwin Allen. Now, this is obviously the guy that created Land of the Giants, The Time Tunnel, Lost in Space, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. He also directed a series of disaster movies in the 70s, including The Tower and Inferno, The Poseidon Adventure, When Time Ran Out, and my favourite, personal favourite, The Swarm. Look at that. I daren't even try to do a flick through of it. I'm going to try and find a page that I can just show you one thing. And if you want to see a flick through of this, let me know and I'll see what I can do. It is jam-packed, full of pictures. Here we go. Oh, God, I can barely lift it. Look at that. That's the back of it. 46 quid, and as I say, I think that is worth every penny. If you want to see me do a proper flick through of this, I will attempt to do it for those that are interested. But I love the work of Irwin Allen. I grew up with his TV series. I loved his movies of the 70s. He's sadly missed, he really is. And this is, as far as I'm concerned, alongside that collectibles book, this has got to be the ultimate work on his career as a filmmaker and a TV show producer. That's it. We're under an hour again. Way to go. Thanks ever so much for joining me, guys. I will be back again at the same time next week. Have a brilliant week, all of you. As I say, welcome Ollie to the group. Already done that, but welcome again. Look forward to seeing Chris again, and all that sort of thing. I'll be back with more of the same next week. If you've got any questions for me or anything that you want me to take a look at, feel free to drop it in the comments, and I will do my best to oblige for you. Have a brilliant week, folks, and I will see you all around the same time next week. Take care. Ta-da.